I have a question. When was the last time you listened to a record? I mean, really listened to it, not while texting or folding laundry or playing on your iPad. I mean, dropped the stylus, sat down, closed your eyes, and just listened. If you have done that recently, well, kudos to you. If you haven't, I completely get it. For some folks, music has become a sort of wallpaper. It's nice to have, but easy to ignore. And today I want to talk about the lost art of listening. I'm going to tell my story, how I forgot how to listen to music, and also how vinyl records helped me find my way back. When I was young, I'd say between the ages of 13 and 22, music demanded my full attention. My whole life was music, probably too much actually. I escaped into it. But I remember rushing to the record store after getting paid and having an entire world of music to choose from. Well, to me, it was an entire world. I would often take my chance on bands I didn't know well, and usually because some of the cooler kids were, listening to those bands. So I would go out and buy it, bring it home. I would study the jacket, read the liner notes, and escape into the music. And over the years, life got in the way, part-time jobs took over, and they gave way to full-time jobs, and it was time to grow up. And CDs were extremely convenient. They were easy to carry around and listen to going back and forth to work or to the store or really whatever. Flash forward to the early 2000s, and iPods came along and music became playlists. Not unlike mixtapes, but with iPods and such, I could carry around an entire music library around with me to listen to. Those days of deep listening, of just sitting down and studying the music or studying the liner notes, studying the lyrics, those became a thing of the past. I lost connection somehow. Music didn't move me the way that it used to move me. All that really moved was my eardrums. I had lost my way. When I got back into records after all of that time, I didn't go out and buy an expensive setup. I couldn't afford it. I just bought a modest one. But here's the thing. I'd reconnected to the joy of listening, really listening. I would listen to an album from start to finish, and it had been years, seriously years, since I had done that. I had to relearn what it was like just to relax and to connect. And then there was that need to upgrade, to make the sound better. It wasn't really a need, it was more a curiosity, but I wanted to know, how can I improve the sound that I was listening to? And I knew that there were ways to do it, I just didn't know how at the time. It started slow, but gear began to become an important part of the listening experience. That's not necessarily bad, but it can be. It can be when I began to look at specs more than the music, or care about the specs more than the music. I'd put on a record to hear how my system sounded. I had taken a wrong turn, so it was time to recalibrate. I had let gear, just like I had with playlists and streaming, distract me from what was important. If you recognize yourself in any of this, how do you recalibrate? How do you make listening part of your life again? Well, you adopt an audio lifestyle. Now, seriously, an audio lifestyle. You make music the focus again. And no, you don't have to do away with playlists. This applies to any format. And I have to assume if you watch me right now, your preferred format is vinyl. But I also know many of you out there watching have multiple formats that you listen to. All it means to adopt an audio lifestyle is to carve out time to listen. It could even mean creating a space to listen in where you pay attention to the room, the lighting, and the way things sound in that room. But not everyone has the luxury or the space. Carving out time is enough. All it means is you are changing the moment by making the music the focus of that moment. You're not just playing music as background noise, you're welcoming it. Do this enough, and it will become a ritual. I promise you, it did for me, and it also did for Mandy. I forget where this came from, but I remember reading one time that if you do something, for 30 days, it becomes a habit. Well, this is the same thing. If you do it every single day or as often as you can, it will become a ritual, and you will find yourself looking forward to those moments where you just disconnect from everything else, sit down and listen to a record. Maybe it's not the whole record, maybe it's a side of the record, but you're focusing on the important piece of the puzzle, the music. And you will find yourself protecting those moments and looking forward to them. Trust me on that. I recently learned of a beautiful tradition in Japan called the Kisa Bar. It's basically a bar, but it could as well be a cafe. It's where you go to not talk or socialize, but just to listen to music. There's no chatter or cell phones or distractions. It's just folks who come in, order a drink while the owner plays records one at a time. And the focus is on the music. It's quiet, it's intimate, and most of all, it's intentional. Now, you don't need to, build a shrine or a Kisa Bar in your own home, but you can adopt the concept. It's easy. You pick a record, you dim the lights, turn off all distractions, lower the stylus, maybe grab a drink, sit down and just listen. Now, you don't necessarily have to turn your phone off like when you go into a Kisa Bar. You can just turn down the volume, set it aside, and tell yourself you're not going to touch that phone until the record is done. Maybe invite a friend over and take turns selecting a playlist for the evening. Like I said, I hadn't heard of Kisa Bars until recently, and it occurred to me that that's exactly what Mandy and I have been doing for, I would say, the last couple of years. We have carved out time at the end of the day. It's usually an hour and a half to 2 hours to just listen to music together on our love seat. I think I've showed this before, but we have a love seat set up in front of the stereo system, and we just sit down together and relax, and we'll choose records and just listen. And really, that's my sermon for today. The only piece of gear, or the best piece of gear, that you can get to improve your system is simple, and it's free. It's your attention. And really, that's about it. If any of this was helpful and you enjoyed the content, please hit like and subscribe. I would love also to hear from you. Put a comment below. I do try to reply to all the comments, and I do appreciate you being here and watching. There's a link in the description to a newsletter that's free to join. I put it out once a week, and it's usually sometimes it's more personal comments or personal articles that I write for the newsletter. But anyhow, you don't have to, but it's there if you'd like to. I would love to have you, though. So until next time, please take care of yourself, enjoy your records, and I will see you soon.